What's up, guys? This is Justin for the 330 Sports Show. We're going to do a special fun edition today. Obviously, we cover all the Cleveland sports, Ohio State stuff, Youngstown State stuff, but today we're going to cover high school sports. Now, not in the sense you're thinking of, not in scores and records and stuff like that. Today's topic is going to be the strangest, weirdest, coolest mascots throughout the country. So we have 64 of them laid out bracket style, and we're going to unveil those for you here in just a moment. So, just off the top of your head, I want you to do a real quick think experiment. What is the weirdest, the strangest, the coolest, whatever it might be, mascot you can think of? Take 2 seconds, 3 seconds. All right, you got yours? Okay. So whatever it is, think about that and let's see if I can do weirder than that here in just a couple minutes. Before we do that, I want to show you some of the basic mascots around the Tri-County area. As most of you know, this show is based in Youngstown, Ohio. So we're going to use the three counties that surround Youngstown. So we're going to go Mahoning, we're going to go Trumbull, and Columbiana. I'm going to give you the mascots that are in those counties, and pretty basic, but we're going to give you a rundown real quick of those. So Youngstown is based in Mahoning County. There are 18 current high schools in Mahoning County. So you start with Austintown, Fitch Falcons, Boardman Spartans. You go on down the list: Canfield, Mooney, both the Cardinals, and so you can see the list right there. So those 18 schools, four former high schools in the Youngstown city school district that no longer exists. But you can see the North Bulldogs, Wilson Redmen, formerly the Presidents, South Warriors, Rayen Tigers. Those were four non-existent or currently non-existent schools that used to exist in that area. So 18 high schools in Mahoning County. Let's move on now to Trumbull. So we take a look at Trumbull County. Mahoning County's got some more, some larger schools with Boardman, Austintown, Youngstown City, Canfield. But Trumbull County's got a lot of smaller high schools, a few larger ones with Warren, especially being the biggest there. But 21 high schools. You can see again fairly common nicknames in that in that district. So that's a look real quick at Trumbull County. Now let's go down to Columbia. In Columbiana, you have only 12 high schools, ranging from obviously Columbiana down to East Liverpool, Wellsville. Like Columbiana is a pretty unique county. It's pretty stretched out, but a lot of smaller districts there. And even Salem is in a weird location, almost in Mahoning County, but it is a Columbiana County school. So that's a look at those. Pretty basic outside, maybe the Quakers and the Potters of East Liverpool. So I went back to a study that was done back in 2015, and these numbers might need tweaked a little bit, but they should still be fairly accurate. But the most common mascots used in Ohio, and again, this was from 2015, a survey they did. So Tigers was the most used mascot with 36, Eagles with 35, Panthers with 35, Wildcats 33, Bulldogs 31, Indians 24, Warriors 24, Vikings 18, Falcons 17, Lions 17, Trojans 16, Blue Devils, Cardinals, and Rams with 15. And then you got the Cougars, Rockets, Spartans with 13, the Knights, Pirates, Raiders, and I hate to say it, Redskins with 12, and then Mustangs with 11. Those were the schools, or those were the mascots with more than 10 in the state of Ohio. So now we take a look at Mahoning, Columbiana, and Trumbull, those 51 high schools. Here's the most common names. So we have 4 Tigers, 4 Eagles, 4 Bulldogs, 3 Cardinals, 2 Indians, 2 Red Devils, 2 Blue Devils, 2 Rockets, 2 Wildcats, 2 Warriors, 2 Bears. Now I'm throwing the Golden Bears in there with the Latonia Bears. So those are schools with 2 or more mascots in the Mahoning, Columbiana, and Trumbull counties high school. All right, so I set this up bracket style. The first group we're going to focus on is the Midwest group of 5. So schools from Ohio, Pennsylvania, Indiana, Michigan, and West Virginia. Let's take a look at those schools. So let's start off with an interesting one. Cleveland, Ohio, home of the Glenville Tarblooders. It's a school battle cry that started way back in the 1940s, indicating their athletic teams were going to tar and blood their opponents. Thus, their colors are red and black. So kind of a cool one there. We head to Duncan Falls. I actually didn't look this up. I'm not actually even sure where Duncan Falls is, but home of the Philo Electrics. There's a power plant right by it, thus the Electrics. Back to Cleveland, Ohio. This one's kind of cool. The Adams Executives. This is named after the first American woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize, Jane Addams, and these executives mean business. So kind of a cool play on her name there. Next one from the state of Ohio, Shenandoah High School, home of the Zeps. And this one has an interesting lineage. Apparently, a Zeppelin back in, I believe it was the 1920s, crashed nearby the school. And they were like, that must be some sort of omen. Let's give our high school that nickname. So they are thus the Zeps. I like this one a lot. Our last one from Ohio, the Lyndhurst, Ohio, which is Brush High School. They're home of the Arcs. And now that is named after Charles F. Brush, who was the inventor of the arc lamp. So kind of cool to pay homage to him with the nickname, and pretty cool mascots there, if you ask. All right, let's head over to Ohio's neighbor to the east, Pennsylvania. Let's go to Williamsport, Pennsylvania, home of the Millionaires. Not just the Little League World Series, but there was apparently a Millionaire Row there. I believe a minor league baseball team was named the Millionaires back in the day, but that nickname stuck with Williams. Here's a real unique one, the Northampton County, Pennsylvania Concrete Kids. So apparently there's a big concrete industry in this area, so thus the Concrete Kids. Very unique nickname, and like a Roblox looking mascot there. Next one in Pennsylvania, Horsham, Pennsylvania. You might think this is more of an ode to Alice in Wonderland with the Mad Hatters, but this is more of an ode to the town because there's a big hat making industry in Horsham, PA. So home to the Hatboro Mad Hatters. Then Boiling Springs, Pennsylvania. Couldn't really find a cool mascot. But I thought the nickname was cool. Home of the Bubblers. Apparently, there's a natural spring that bubbles in that town. So, home to the Bubblers. All right, we started in Ohio, went to PA. Let's go out west now to Indiana, home to the Jeeps, the Fighting Jeeps of Northeast. I believe it's DuBose, Indiana. Now, apparently, a Jeep is not like the vehicle of the Jeep, it is. A name of a comic book character from the Popeye series back in the 1930s that stuck, and kind of a weird looking mascot, but kind of cool. It's different, and we like that. Next one, we head to Frankfort, Indiana, and when we think of Frankfurt, it sounds a German name. Hot dogs, the old lineage back to German history of the Frankfurter. So thus the fighting hot dogs of Frankfurt. This next one might be my favorite logo. It's really cool. The Speedway High, Indiana, probably obviously outside of Indianapolis, home to the Motor Speedway, but the home of the Spark Plugs. So Speedway High School Spark Plugs. Really cool mascot. Now we're going to head up north to Michigan, Watersmeet, Michigan, in fact, and it's home of the Nimrods. Now, I had no idea what a Nimrod was. I thought it was, when I was younger, I felt like that was something adults called people that were like off their rocker a little bit. But apparently, it is a biblical figure. I believe, somehow connection to the story of Noah's Ark. But the Watersmeet Nimrods in Watersmeet, Michigan, is our next one. Just thought this next one was cool. The Bessemer, Michigan, home to the Speed Boys. I don't know if this is an all boys school, but if they have a girls team, maybe it's the Speed Girls. But I thought that was kind of a cool nickname, and I like the little logo that looks like kind of the track and field shoe with the wings. Staying up in Michigan, Zeeland, Michigan, home of the Chicks. Now, I feel like there is, like a dual mascot here. I feel like I saw ducks earlier with this one, but Zeeland Chicks. You don't hear that mascot a lot. You don't hear that name a lot. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then to wrap up this bracket, our 16th school in this bracket, you gotta love this one. Polka, West Virginia, home of the Polka Dots, Polka High School Dots. So you gotta embrace it. I mean, if you live in a town called Polka, what are you gonna do? It's either gonna be the polka musicians, but that would be spelled a little different. But if you got the name Polka of the town, why not embrace it? And pretty cool, fierce mascot there with the polka dots. All right, now we're going to move on to our southeastern region of the country. These will have schools represented or states represented from Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, North Carolina, Texas, and Tennessee. Let's get right into those. Honestly, this one might be my favorite. Little Rock, Arkansas, the state capital of Arkansas. They're home of the Arkansas School for the Deaf. They are the Leopards. Yes, they are the deaf leopards. So why not? Play on it. It's cool, and you're embracing what the school is all about there. So love it. Staying in Arkansas, the Harrison, Arkansas Golden Goblins. That's a little bit of nightmare fuel right there, if you ask me. Kind of a cool looking, if you're into the intimidating looking mascots. One more time in Arkansas, the Fordyce, Arkansas, home of the Red Bugs. So maybe down in Arkansas must be a crazy amount of weird looking bugs down there. But hey, why not? It's different, it's unique, but nobody really likes bugs either. So that's a good villain for your opponent. We go to the great state of Florida, Tarpon High, Florida, the home of the Spongers. And obviously, if you're in Florida, you're by the ocean, you're going to have some scuba gear and maybe head down and do some sponging, I guess it would be called. Staying in Florida, Laurel Hill, Florida, home of the Laurel Hill Hobos. Now, not the most PC. I like that the hobo dude is dribbling a basketball. I think that's kind of cool. But apparently, I can't speak on this factually, but apparently the basketball coach back in the day told his players they were playing like a bunch of hobos. So I don't know if that's accurate or not, but for some reason the name stuck, and that's what. Another cool one in Florida, Key West, home of the Fighting Conchs, and just a really cool mascot, something different there. The Fighting Conchs of Key West, Florida. Heading up past that Florida line up to Georgia, we go to Cairo, Georgia, home of the syrup makers. So pretty cool one there, kind of different, and maybe Wedding Crashers went down there, founded this, and they got a maple syrup conglomerate coming along. But the Cairo, Georgia syrup maker. I like this next one because really just thought the logo was cool. I didn't know what an Angora was till I looked this up, but the Clarkson, Georgia Angoras. And it's basically like a big ram, but pretty cool looking mascot. Heading on over to Louisiana, we go to the Archbishop Chappelle, which is an all-female school in Louisiana. They're home to the Chipmunks. Now, might not be fierce, but pretty dang cute. And you're going to sell a whole bunch of t-shirts and hats and hoodies, stuff like that with that logo. So the Archbishop Chappelle, Louisiana Chipmunks. We head over to Cary, North Carolina, and they are home to the Imps. Now, an imp, I've heard the word. I knew it was kind of like a short person or figure, but apparently they're like these little devilish type creatures, sprites. I've even heard the word called fairies. I don't know, goblins, whatever you want to call them. But any Cleveland Browns fans, that's kind of where Brownie the elf gets its lineage. So home to the Imps of Cary, North Carolina. Moving on over to Texas, we go to New Braunfels, Texas, home of the unicorns. Now, this is not your average, typical rainbow, very gentle unicorn. I mean, look at that unicorn. It is absolutely jacked. So since 1845, that thing has been in the gym, not skipping leg day. It's getting its lifting in every single day. New Brunfield unicorn. That's an intimidating looking unicorn and one you don't want to mess with. We all like a good alliteration from now and then and time to time, but we're going to go to stay in Texas, Hutto, Texas, home of the hippos. They call themselves Hippo Nation. So the Hutto hippos, Hippo Nation represent. If you remember the movie Necessary Roughness or Unnecessary Roughness, that took I believe it was Texas State, a fictional school, but we stay in San Saba, Texas. They were the armadillos in that movie, and if you're in Texas, you got to have one of your cooler creatures in as a mascot. So the armadillos are representing on this list. All right, next one might be a bit controversial over here. Robston, Texas, home of the cotton pickers. I say that like a little bit of "Ooh, not great," but apparently the town has embraced the name. It is a small town of about 10, 11,000 people, with a mostly uh, Latino, Mexican type population, and the town was founded on this industry. And apparently there's been some pushback every couple years, but the town has really embraced the name. So I'm not gonna say one way or the other, but hey, it makes our list here for the Robstown cotton picker. Heading on over to Tennessee, Chattanooga Central High, the home of the Purple Pounders. You can think what you may, but very interesting mascot over here. I actually really kind of like it. It's pretty cool, and it's different, and that's what this list is all about. So, the Purple Pounders, Chattanooga Central High. One more from Tennessee to round out this list. Bell Buckle, Tennessee, just a cool name there, but they are the home of the Feet. So, the Webb High School Feet. So, go Feet. We all need them. All right, so we're through two regions. Let's go to our Western region. This has a ton of states represented, I believe 10, but we have Wisconsin, Missouri, Colorado, California, Arizona, Hawaii, Idaho, Montana, Utah, and Washington all represented in this. We start in Arizona, Yuma, Arizona. They are the proud home of the criminals. So take that as you will. Another one that's a little bit of nightmare fuel, Columbia, Missouri. They're the home of the Hickman Cupies. And take a look at that little baby doll mascot. Pretty. Um, some people might think it's cute. Some people might think, like me, it's pure nightmare fuel. Love, love, love this one. Didn't even know what a zizzer was, which might be an insult to me because no one's ever called me one. But a zizzer is about maybe the best compliment you can get because if you live in West Plains, Missouri, you are home to these zizzers. But a zizzer is basically like the best of what you can be, the top notch. So if you're a zizzer, that's a good thing. Let's head over to Colorado, Rocky Ford, Colorado. In fact, home of the Melineers. Love the mascot. Looks pretty fierce. One's even holding a golf club. Just intense looking. Love it. Fort Collins, Colorado, home to Colorado State University, but their high school there, one of the high schools, I would imagine, home of the Lambkins. So, baby lamb, a lambkin, I'm guessing, but kind of cute, adorable. Maybe not the most fierce, but unique, and it makes on out to California, Live Oak, California, home of the Acorns. Love them. If that was a helmet or on the jersey on the left there, that acorn is pretty sweet. I'm not sure what to think of the one on the right. The anatomy, whatever's going on, looks a little creepy, but do love the nickname Acorns for Live Oak, California. Staying in California, Yuba City, we got the honkers. So the geese probably fly down south there for the winter. The Yuba City, California honkers. Orofina, Idaho. Not again, not a very PC one, but home to the Maniacs. Uh, Very interesting mascot, and even their youth program, Mini Maniacs. So you take that one for what you will, but apparently, how this one got started way back when a sports writer said, their basketball team or football team, whatever sport it was, he was covering. They were the team was playing like maniacs. So I guess the name made it to the paper and stuck. Pretty sure Dwight Schrute did not go to this high school, but if he did, he'd be very proud. The Jordan, Utah Beet Diggers. So home of the Beet Diggers, pretty jacked mascot there. If you're digging up a bunch of beets, I'm sure that'll get you jacked. So Jordan, Utah, home to the Beet Diggers, makes love this next one. There's not enough dinosaur mascots. You got the Toronto Raptors. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones, but that's, in the professional level. I just thought this one was cool. The Carbon High Dinos in Price, Utah, and apparently there's been a lot of fossils found out that way. So embracing the culture of the archaeologists and stuff out there. So I thought that was. We have an entry from Hawaii, and I hope I get this name right, but obviously it's Maui, Hawaii, but they are home of the Maui Prep Pueo. And apparently, a Pueo is some sort of short-eared owl, and it sort of protects in their culture. So I thought that one was kind of cool and kind of neat. Haven't seen that one too often. Heading up to the Pacific Northwest. And if you know anything about the Pacific Northwest, there's a lot of forests. And, with forests, there's a lot of trees, thus paper mills, and thus the Camas, Washington, home of the paper makers. So embracing what they do best up in Washington. Thought that one. Love this next logo. Basically a potato with a crown on, but the Ridgefield, Washington, home to the Spudders. So I'm sure there's probably a few out in Idaho or out in Washington. A lot of potato growers out there. And then out in Montana, you got the Anaconda. So you already got the snake name at the beginning, and then you're going with the Anaconda Montana Copperhead. So again, embracing what kind of animals and lizards and reptiles and stuff are out there. All right, two more. So in Wisconsin, to round us out, in the western region, Monroe, Wisconsin, they're the home of the cheesemakers. Wisconsin, obviously, a lot of dairy and cheese out there. And what would a good mascot be for the cheesemakers? None other than a mouse. So we love that one. This next one's just cool, and Calquana, I believe, Wisconsin. They are the home of the Galloping Ghosts. So again, just different, cool, makes our list. All right, we head into our final region here, and in our interesting high school mascot brackets. So this one is called Illinois +7. We have 9 mascots from the state of Illinois who really step up their game with some unique mascots, and then 7 from random states around the country. So let's take this next one. Growing up in Ohio, as a little kid, we always heard stories of Johnny Appleseed. This next one kind of reminded me of that, but Cobden, Illinois, home of the Apple Knockers. Love it. Also sounds like it could be a Hooters type restaurant as well. Next one, also Illinois, Teutopolis, Illinois, home of the wooden shoes. Obviously a German type reference, but I could be wrong on this, but according to some research, 1960s, 50s, I believe, a basketball coach wore some wooden shoes in like homage to that, and apparently that's where the nickname came from as well. Next one almost sounds like it could be a band name, but the Flaming Hearts of Effingham, Illinois. Just thought that one was really cool. Nice play on a game you would probably play as a kid in the swimming pool, but the Polo, Illinois, home of the Marcos. So Marco Polo, or in this case, Polo. Another one that might push the PC button for certain people, but the Freeburg, Illinois Midgets. So this one apparently um, stuck when a sports writer uh, described, again, not very PC at the time, but back in the 50s, the school's basketball team who didn't have a player over 5'9", I believe. And in their story, that's what they wrote. So apparently the name is stuck. I don't know if they've gotten much pushback on that, but it is what it is, and it makes our list. Next, we're going to Pretzel City, USA, Freeport, Illinois, home of the pretzels. Love this next one, the Hoopeston East Lynn, Illinois, home of the corn jerkers. So, I guess that's a different name for shucking corn, but gotta love it. Cool mascot. Next one, again, might push the PC button here a little bit, but Centralia, Illinois, again, embracing their history and culture, home of the Orphans, the men's team or the boys' team, and the Annies, the girls' team. And apparently, the backstory on this one is the team had a nice run, made it to the state tournament, but had to wear like mismatched uniforms because the school budget was so little, and they look like maybe very poor, so they couldn't afford jerseys. Thus, the name Orphans and Annies. Nothing really crazy about this one, but the Fisher, Illinois Bunnies. Don't hear a whole lot about bunnies as mascots, but looks pretty fierce, and I love the helmet they use with the rabbit up front, and then much like Ohio State gets Buckeye stickers, they get little carrot stickers on their helmet. So pretty cool look there. All right, we move from Illinois now to Maryland, Annapolis, Maryland, the naval capital of the country, but we have the home of the Key School Obzags, and apparently an Obzag is basically a gazebo. So home of the Obzags. The next one up to New York, we go to the Fredonia, New York, and it is the home to the Hillbillies. So we'll take that as we will. Love, love, love this next one. Again, talk about embracing your culture. Heston, Kansas, home of the Swathers. And apparently a swather is a big combine farm equipment machine. And you know what? Might as well make it look fierce, turn it into your mascot. So the Heston, Kansas Swath. Heading over to Maine on the northeast coast. We go to Brewer, Maine, and which is not too far from like Salem, Massachusetts. We got the home of the witches. So embracing that culture once again. Love to see it. This next one might be one of my favorite mascot costumes, but it is the Avon Old Farms, Connecticut, and they're home of the winged beavers. So kind of cool, just different. If you ever go to Blooming Prairie, Minnesota, maybe they got an Outback Steakhouse there, and you can get an Awesome Blossom, which is their high school mascot. So home of the Awesome Blossoms in Blooming Prairie, Minnesota. We wrap up our 64 high school teams in Hooker, Oklahoma. I mean, they are the home of the Horny Toads. So Hooker, Oklahoma, Horny Toads. So we'll leave that one. So that's our list. Tell me what you think I missed. I'm sure there's plenty more interesting ones out there, weird ones, cool ones, whatever it might be that I missed. But that was some of the research I did. Love to hear your thoughts. What's your favorite? What's your least favorite? What's the weirdest one you've ever heard of? So drop those in the comments and let me know. But again, want to thank you guys for watching. Everyone enjoy your day, and we will have plenty of more content for you here in the near future.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on